This is the DudeBros podcast.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no
This is
love
the
for the fakeness. If you
podcast.
wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like
Enjoy the day, can't speak now.
Okay. Are we rolling?
We are. We're live, dude.
Oh,
We've been
live
live.
at 5. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, it was a little past 5, but
Yeah, we are. I'm well
late
late.
night. So, let me take a sip of this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that delicious DudeBros coffee.
It is good. It is good. I don't even have to put sugar or creamer in that stuff. It's very nice.
Just before you came here, I was actually watching the congressional, I don't even know what you want to call it, briefing, hearing, show, display.
Circus. Right.
The topic, of course, is all the UAP, UFO disclosure.
Oh, you're
So
hammering us with that stuff right now.
Well, it was very interesting. There was a very distinct difference in tone between a lot of the members of Congress, because they each get, I think, 5 minutes to ask their questions, get the responses, and then, yield their time back to the chair, whatever. Some of them seemed upset with the whole process and lack of transparency. Some of them seemed to be faking that very much, and then some of them seemed to just very softball questions, very much filling time. I'm sure you're familiar with the controversial Congresswoman Robot, I'm going to call her. She was like a stripper, got a bunch of money, but went to Congress, all that.
Yeah. I saw a snippet of that.
Her questions were very interesting.
In oceanic environments, are there any instances where the Navy or encountered UAPs that could not be explained by known technology or natural phenomena?
Yeah, the Vega constellation covers both terrestrial and oceanic, and there's actually a number of cases described in the report that occur in the ocean.
And do you believe that there is a concerted effort by the Pentagon to keep Congress out of the loop regarding these UAP activities, specifically in our waters?
Yes.
But she did, of course, open up her minute-long tirade of contributing to the clown show. She was basically, I'm going to say every trigger word to make sure I make it into...
She's got to get her
highlight
reel that
reels.
day. Yeah.
But she was fairly hostile, and then there's...
Which I cannot, again, talk
How long were you given to sign the document?
as long as I need it, sir.
And what if you didn't sign it?
Well, I suspect there'd be repercussions. I would have access to certain information.
Were you allowed to ask a lawyer, or weren't allowed to ask for a lawyer to review the document?
It wasn't an option, but they probably wouldn't have allowed me to, because the document itself is pretty explicit about you have to be, putting me in an interest. Let me try to thread the needle here. There are certain documents that we have in the U.S. government that allow people to have access to certain programs, whether it's a special, and I'm going to be very generic here, whether it's a special access program or a controlled access program, SAP, CAP, whatnot.
How many people have to sign that document?
It depends how many people are going to get access to the information, sir.
one particular senator with an accent, quite hostile to them.
What are they? Unfortunately, sir, I would have to have that conversation in a closed session.
I know you said that, and a lot of people are frustrated with those kind of answers, but we're asking those kind of questions so you all know what the heck we're up against.
Obviously frustrated, and he seemed like he was out of the loop and was unhappy that he was out of the loop. On that note, I know you had brought that up in our last DudeBros Rewind. Heyo! Independence Day. Check it out. This will probably come out after that or around the same time. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. If you did see it, we appreciate your support. If you don't want to go see it, then you know what? You're wrong. But I respect your opinion.
If you don't chew Big Red, then you...
Love that blooper reel. One of my favorites. Some of the movies overdid it, but I like that one.
I honestly wonder sometimes, though, because I see Will Ferrell, and that's kind of, or it's been, at least been presented as this is his kind of bit. Everything's almost ad-libbed, but how much of that stuff is like, all right, which of these lines do I like, and which am I going to act?
He does have a whole team of writers.
Oh, I bet.
But I will say, I'm not discounting the man's comedic genius in anything.
No. But the whole everything's ad-libbed is a stretch for me. Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite comedy bits from anybody is actually from him, and it's Have you seen it where it's him and the baby arguing?
Oh yes,
That's
that's
that.
gold.
Yeah, the first. I mean, it's played out. It's not something you're gonna watch 10 times and giggle the 10th time, but the first time, it hits. You know,
It'll get a rib. It will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where were we? We got that off on the wrong thing here.
Oh
man, sorry.
We were going into. I was referring to DudeBros rewind when you were talking about some alien stuff you were bringing up. I mean, it tied into Independence Day and alien invasion and all that.
I guess that's fair. Well, maybe that's why they're throwing it at us so hard right now, because Independence Day, you know, maybe they're working on that third movie. Yeah.
I wish. I still think that they should go back and just make a movie that is entirely based on the, you know, we'll say decades in Africa where the world just ignored the fact that there's alien species there.
Drilling into the center of your planet, yeah.
Well, also, I mean, those Africans who are just doing work. I mean, that general was a badass, dude.
Real one.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah, well,
I would absolutely watch
this
a movie.
guy, I'll take him over Black Panther any day. I don't care.
His story up to, let's say his story up to the moment, like the ending scene would be where in the second movie, Jeff Goldblum comes and, you know, meets him. That would be the ending scene or whatever. Like, I would watch everything up to that and be entertained, I'm sure. Yeah. Even on a low budget, you know.
But they missed an opportunity there, you know.
Right. But back to the UFOs.
Back to the UAP sightings.
In terms of material that's given to private contractors, a certain material given to certain contractors because of their experience. So, for example, if it's related to submerged and undersea propulsion, would it go to a general contractor like General Dynamics?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely correct. Different contractors have different levels of expertise.
What's Lockheed's expertise?
Aerospace, ma'am.
In the UAPs, that's all. They would do submerged.
No, I didn't say that, man.
Okay.
Lockheed Martin and others do quite a bit of work, both in our atmosphere for space and even underwater. There are certain efforts to. It's a tough question, guys. Can you put me on the spot here?
I'm looking for the answer.
Yes, ma'am. No, they're involved in a lot.
She was really trying to get out the transmedium aspect of it, the stuff coming out of the water, hot spots, you know, these kind of things. Of course, a lot of the questionings kept circling back to the sightings being around military bases or around nuclear facilities, classified areas, et cetera, et cetera. So I think you could interpret that as the collective members of Congress trying to highlight attention and say these are military programs that they need to be aware of, or maybe they're saying, hey, if this is something else, they're clearly looking at our shit, so we need to be aware of it so we can make informed decisions, since, you know, it affects our national security and country as a whole, which we were elected to make decisions on in this representative federal democracy that we live in.
I met with the DoD's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and what I thought would be a 90-minute meeting just to meet with leadership turned out to be an hours-long influence operation on me, where they attempted to convince me of the validity of the very flawed and error-ridden historical records report. In addition, they tried to have me question very valid UAP reports like the Tic Tac incident, and even coming to stating possibly that the Tic Tac was American technology. And then, of course, if you ask David Fravor or Alex Dietrich, the two witnesses, they were convinced it was otherwise. And then, and they also cast discredit on various UAP whistleblowers and witnesses to question their validity and credibility as witnesses.
Yeah, but I mean, how many of them aren't actually read into some of that stuff? Because I mean, I feel like it's well understood now, and a lot of stuff's declassified, and a lot of that crap is ours.
Does the U.S. government or private contractors, they work with other foreign countries, China, for example, to exchange data, quote, from the source, that intelligence data about UAP?
Let me see if I can answer that a little bit more generally, ma'am. We do have foreign material exploitation programs. That is something that is widely known, and that term itself is unclassified. How exactly that works becomes a bit sensitive. The discussion we could certainly have in a closed session if you like. We do work with international partners and allies quite often, not just in military exercises and but in other intelligence efforts as well.
Yeah, it's just
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these people aren't going to look into it to find the stuff that's been quietly put out there. They need to, these are old men and women who act like toddlers. They need someone to take their hand, sit them down in a chair, have a PowerPoint, because that's the speed they're at.
Do they even use those anymore?
They still absolutely do. They still absolutely 100% do.
Yowzers. But yeah, I just feel like that's it's either, this is our stuff and, now we've got to, really talk about it, or this might not be our stuff. And if this is not our stuff, these guys are checking out all the stuff that we don't want them messing with, nuke site, nuclear sites, the White House, whatever, big military bases where all the shit goes boom.
Okay. We'll go to Mr. Elizondo. We got that right or not? At least
Close enough, sir.
You're familiar with the recent drone incursion over Langley Air Force Base?
Yes, sir.
The owners of these drones remain unclear. The U.S. military has not been able to give us in Congress an answer. Given your experience with the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, how frequently are UAP sightings over military installations? And secondly, I suppose hypothetically you could have incursions over just, say, regular airports. Is it obvious these incursions are more likely over military facilities than just a random airport out there?
But maybe they're sticking a little bit out and sticking a little bit out and seeing whatever little fishies do and which way they swim, and then we hammer on one side or the other, and that's scary.
Let's do a quick experiment here. Why don't you pause this video, click up your preferred search medium, type in UAP Disclosure Hearing, and see if anything at all on your top page has to do with what just transpired. Anything at all. Then come back and watch the rest of this video, of course. Have a great day.
I think a very realistic approach, especially considering the big beautiful bill and its AI provisions. Let's not regulate it for 10 years. Not even the local communities. There can be no ordinance on any level, which is a very kind of I don't want to say tyrannical, despotic, totalitarian, dystopian. Like, pick your terrifying doom word that you want to throw in there for clicks. That fits the bill. Right. But on that same token, we went into before the aspect that AI plays into, and we are absolutely in an arms race, and I mean it's
its own thing, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I think optimistic scenario, no matter what, you have this branch off group that goes and embraces it, regardless of that, if that's after a major culling or what have you. But I think that there will hopefully be the organic humans. There's a big enough movement right now with everyone doing all the homesteading and increasingly becoming more aware that the crap that they're being given is not food. You can leave McDonald's outside for a month and it looks the same.
Yeah. I've really loved that my mom jumped on that bandwagon.
Have you seen the underwear thing? I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
So there's a trend right now, and it's farmers that are burying 100% cotton underwear in their fields and then in their backyards, right?
Okay.
And they'll wait just a simple week, or some of them will wait a month, but it usually only takes about a week, and they'll dig up the one from their backyard, and it's like the elastic and then a few little bits left, right?
Yeah. Goes back to nature.
Right. And then if you go pull the one up from the field that's from industrial agriculture, commercial agriculture, nothing's done. They're just dirty underwear.
Right.
Because so much of the microbial life, the mycelium network is completely destroyed. The insect, the fungal aspect. Without going into that tangent, people are becoming increasingly more aware. You're seeing more of those videos trending on social media everywhere.
You'll see the videos where the guys are walking down the grocery store aisles and stuff, and they're going down the cereal aisle, and they'll pick it up, and it's like, yeah, this chemical here, this is an industrial cleaner, and this one right here, they use this one to scrub toilets, and it's like, why is this in your food?
There's a guy, he makes a lot of the videos with his child, and he's showing how to replicate a lot of these famous fast foods or Doritos, these famous products at home with the same way they do it. Like for McDonald's, he took a chicken and he poured it, in a pot of bleach, and he literally replicates everything that they do. And he's like, this is drain cleaner, but it's the same chemical that they use for you, you know, and pours it in there and all like, and then
Terrifying.
but cooks it all the exact same way, and it doesn't come out looking exactly like the stuff, but it comes out looking. I mean, it's.
Yeah. Well, what is it? The Netherlands or Sweden, one or the other one, they literally have a museum, and inside of it is the last cheeseburger that was ever sold there, and it has not aged a day. It's like behind glass, and it looks the same. I mean, just a little, not quite as bright, but it hasn't molded. No,
Right.
you know, and it's just frozen in time.
So, you know, I do a little bit of stand-up comedy and stuff too. I actually have a bit about that, about, you know, this cycle of civilizations coming and going and all that, but the ending bit kind of comes into play, being that aliens come here, they're digging stuff up, and they find this big vat,
cheeseburger.
and that's the remnants of our civilization, not some
Right.
big architect. No, the pyramids are gone, the Hoover Dam's
Rubble.
gone, Bill
But
Gates'
here's a
fancy clock's
McDouble.
gone. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Love it.
But see, even that trended. I mean, there's been hundreds of videos of grandmas that bought these 20 years ago and put them in their closet, and they got a shoebox, and they'd like to take it out every couple of years and show the kids, like, this is why Mama doesn't eat McDonald's, because this is the last cheeseburger I bought there, and this is 42 years, you know, whatever, however long ago. It is fake food.
Unfortunately, though, you know, especially with the advent of AI, to circle back to that, all these major corporations are aware of these trends, and you see a lot of these big conglomerates buying the organic brands and then starting to slowly alter things. It might just originally be they're using some GMO stuff that when the brand didn't before, and then they're starting to use, well, we use all these sprays now, but they're still on the USDA organic list, so we can still legally say it's organic.
We can trust them, right? Yeah.
Bill Gates' appeal is now allowed to be put on every piece of produce and still be classified as organic and not have to be declared at all. That is official U.S. law now. So people, be very careful. And that's not just on your skin. You can't cut that off. That soaks into the fruit. So really try to shop locally and shop to people who grow organic if you can, people who take care of their stuff.
And shop seasonally. That's kind of part of the problem too, is people want what they want all the time. A long time ago, they ate what was in season. This is what's coming up right now. We got to eat these while these are good. We got to save
We
these.
will be forced to revert back to that. I mean,
we're in
World War III. We are in World War III now.
I mean, it sure looks like it. Everything's on fire that's not here, and even here's halfway on fire.
That's why I think you see a lot of emphasis in the media of them using the phrase the 12-day war, the 12-day war, to describe Israel-Iran. That's to de-emphasize the fact that Israel is still involved. You know, Palestine didn't cease to exist. There's still an extermination going on there. There's still stuff happening in Ukraine and Russia. And on that note, there is a particular site, and we'll go ahead and put that up on the screen. There's a particular site is getting bombarded over and over and over again, and it's an oil refinery. So I'm not a structural engineer, and I'm not claiming to be. I do have military experience, and I'm a pretty intelligent cat, but I also am not claiming to be an expert in all ordnance. But usually after the first missile barrage, an oil refinery is no longer deemed working, operating at no longer to be at operating capacity.
No longer functions.
At the very least. I got sent a video from a buddy of mine who lives fairly close to one of these things, and then I got sent another video, and then a couple of days later another video, and they are literally striking the same place over and over again. If I have time or you have time, somebody needs to pull into that. There's somebody out there. Look into that. Make a video. Spread some information.
You can still, if you just scroll a little bit, you know, if it's not on the first screen, go to the next one. I'm sure there's something.
You need to learn to use these search engines. Boolean operators, not a little bouillon cube you throw in there and give you some flavor. Boolean operators, B-O-O-L-E-A-N, Boolean operators. Learn how to utilize those effectively, and you will be privy to a wealth of information that 99% of people have no idea they have access to.
Check it out.
The more you know. The ching. Remember that?
Bing.
God, nostalgia.
Member berries.
Love it.
Oh, that's some good coffee, man. I swear.
Thank you.
Okay. So the world's on fire. Where are we going with this?
Hold on. So let's keep it on the UFO note before we go off into anything else. I believe you were looking into something with the missing flight a couple of years back, and then the 3 little ball drones flying around it.
Yeah.
The missing plane thing. What was that? You were looking into it or something?
Yeah, I think it was actually an old video. I think it's coming around again. But it was the one that they had like the infrared or whatever, and the planes are going and going, and these little Orbeez show up.
Like the one they just found in South America. We'll go into that. The Bogota Spirit, the Boogity Doogity Spirit.
The Boogity Doogity? No, I missed that highlight.
Yeah, it's a metal orb that has these symbols and engravings carved all over it, and they scanned it and everything, and it looks like it's just solid metal all the way through. And then they did this one particular scan, and it looks like it's solid metal all the way through.
Oh, is that the one that
But
the
metal
orb's
in the
inside
middle,
of it though?
It looks like it's solid metal all the way through, but there's a different metal signature inside of it that looks like the Tesla tower, but turned on its side. And supposedly it was going through the air, and then I don't know if they shot it with the EMP or it hit a power line, because I've heard the story 2 different ways, but then it's on the ground and it's
lightning strike.
It's the only one that is not held by a, like, we'll say, government entity.
Oh, it didn't have anybody's signature on it, huh?
It was something in the news. I'll look it up and I'll throw it in here. But fairly recently there was some like UFO conference or something, and the guys who own it had it, and they're claiming that somebody was trying to steal it. Some people in like suits were coming and trying to steal it and all that, but they were very audible and bringing attention to it at this huge conference, and the nerd crew swarmed together, you know. And I have seen no video footage of that, but I hope that there is out there, and I hope that it comes up, because I would like to see, because I'm imagining, you know, like your Trekkies, your people in the blow up alien costumes. Yeah, come here.
I lived in Virginia for a while, and they got a bunch of fucking bases up there. And I remember
they got a few.
Yeah, a lot. The biggest naval base in the world, Norfolk, Virginia. Yeah, a fella came out who was stationed at Oceanfront. He was specifically brought up there to observe this phenomenon that the pilots kept seeing, because up there is where they keep a lot of the airplanes, like all your fighter jets and stuff, and they test often. You know, we're safe. We're no fishermen are or whatever. Well, some don't. Anyway.
Right. Where they're not supposed to be.
Well, yeah, exactly. But apparently this UAP event happened so frequently that an investigator had to come and investigate all the footage these pilots were talking about.
Right.
And they all talked about the Tic Tacs. And I think these guys, it was Navy pilots, went on CNN or 60 Minutes or something like that. They had a big deal a couple years ago. But they talked about the Tic Tacs and how it would lock in on their stuff, and, you know, it was there and then it wasn't. But that reminded me of this, because this one was like 3 of them.
At this point in time, there's got to be thousands of people that have seen these phenomena and have reported it. Like this, I don't think that's even up for debate anymore.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. Just I wanted to make sure.
No, that's
we
why I
were on the
prefaced,
same
like,
page.
it was
Okay.
15 years ago. I remember seeing about that stuff then.
Right. Okay.
But no, this video popped up again of the disappearing plane, but now it was on somebody else's podcast. The guy brought up the video again and was like, well, this hasn't been debunked. You know, nobody has debunked this. It was like other people's opinion of debunked this, and this is popping up again, but this time it was 3 little Orbeez, and they circled the plane, and he had a very thorough explanation of like everything they were doing, how it was doing it, how this was like known technology, or could be. I can't wrap my brain around a lot of that stuff, but it was very interesting, the type of stuff he was talking about, like I guess the formation or whatever they made once they started circling the plane. It's called the Gorgon Stare Increment 2. Sounds really military like to me, but
Right.
But I mean, they locked in, and it looked like
that's the whole teleportation thing, the Philadelphia experiment, all that.
See, I remember reading about the Philadelphia experiment with the ship. It's in, what was it, New York, and then it was in Philadelphia, and some guys were stuck to the ship because it didn't work right, or...
Yeah, there were 2 individuals who like jumped off of the ship, and that's a whole
tangent
internet story to go in down, you know, but they went off, and then they came back at a different point in time, and so of course they're subjects of all this stuff there. But it seemed very grotesque and horrific, the accounts of the
100%,
like the the Pirates of the Caribbean movie where the men are part of the ship,
into the ship, right?
like that.
100%, yeah, exactly.
Like metal instead of wood, even though either one does not sound pleasant. You know? But yeah, that'd be awful because the men were still alive after the transition, and then of course they didn't survive. I don't know how long you can live with, you know, your spleen in the boiler and your arm is part of the, you know.
I mean, I'd almost rather turn into the ship slowly, other than, hey, oh look, now I'm you know, a bow of the ship.
If you did it slowly, that'd be even more excruciating.
Really? Because you know,
I think I'd rather the quick transition, even though it would be shocking. At least it's not pain of being like, is this? Yeah, I have no control. Oh my god, you know, that'd be.
So you're more of a instant transmission kind of guy, not the frog in the boiling pot.
I mean, if it's absolutely inevitable and I have no means of reacting and controlling and saving myself, then yeah, I'd rather not suffer as much as I can help.
So you're more along the line of, if there's going to be an apocalypse, let's make it wipe clean. Let's not just turn the boiler up until there's only a few left.
I think there's a greater chance of survival for the humanity as a whole if there's a gradual, but I think the easiest transition would be sudden.
Right.
For instance, I'm not a warmonger by any means, but I think in getting things resolved sooner rather than later is in everyone's best interest, rather than
murdering millions.
Well, yeah, I'd say rather than letting the capabilities of destruction continue to increase exponentially with AI.
Right.
You know, let's sort out our differences now before our difference sorting out involves everything getting wiped away. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is it's a calculated and cold way to look at it, but it's,
I mean,
I think the most humane overall, you know.
I kind of like Thanos. I thought was a great villain.
He was a great villain. I'll give you that.
But for that reason, though, because, you know,
I rooted for him.
I was really with him until he put his own feelings into it. Until he showed his own feelings coming through.
I'll give you that.
I was with him the whole time. Yep, exactly.
So you're saying if you would have ended the movie at a certain point, then he's like perfect.
I mean, as far as a villain going 100% into this is the right thing to do, whether you like it or not. You can call me the bad guy, the good guy, the savior, the devil, whatever. This has to happen so everything can keep going. I can get that kind of mentality. Okay. But at the end, it was, no, I'm going to enjoy fucking this little planet up and raping all you women.
So you would get along with some of these billionaire types then?
No. To an extent, on a certain line of thinking. If there's ways to go about things, we'll say that. But as far as if they would have cut Thanos off right there, I felt like he would have been one of the best villains ever. But they brought his own little ego, his own little whatever in there at the end, and yep, you're just a kid with a magnifying glass. I see you.
At the end of the day.
Right?
At the end of the day.
Anywho.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before you started on the Thanos thing? Oh, the AI, the potential for destruction, world, you know, ending, the cataclysms.
Whether it be fast, whether it be slow.
All that stuff. Yeah. On the subject of AI, this was 2019, so it kind of got overshadowed by an event. I think you might remember it. People had to hide their faces, I think, and you couldn't be near anybody.
There was a thing floating around there
unless you were protesting.
Then it was okay to be really close to lots of people.
But you got arrested if you were on the beach.
Or in a fishing boat.
Yeah, that was...
What a weird time to be alive.
Anyway, so do you remember the Sophie AI? The creepy, very feminine, realistic
the robot face. It was just the head, and then they gave it a body too.
So do you remember they made a mini version targeted towards kids that had all the same AI capabilities and everything on there? Oh, so this is going to be great. You will absolutely appreciate it. So the little
Sophia.
Yeah, why don't you read that into the microphone for the people there.
Little Sophia is a humanoid robot developed by Hanson Robotics as a smaller educational version of the more well-known Sophia robot. Designed for children aged 7 to 13, Little Sophia is 14 inches tall and capable of walking, talking, tracking, and recognizing faces and making various facial expressions. She can also sing, tell stories, and provide factoids, along with some AI home assistant capabilities and augmented reality features.
Although initially expected to arrive in December 2019, Little Sophia was later scheduled and released officially in 2022. You know, that whole time period, that was the confusing times, we'll say. So, I'll find a quick little video that's not copyrighted and put it up there so y'all can see the true creepiness of it.
They just had a movie come out.
Well, right.
Oh God, that's so creepy.
Right. So, here's some images of the little one it looks like, right? There, oh look, it's nice and friendly with the age-appropriate girl that understands what she's dealing with right there beside her head. Fun fact about that. I want you to tell me the vibe of this next person I'm about to pull up.
Pedophile.
Okay, so let's look at this image real quick. I first was turned on to him maybe 2 decades ago, like a long time ago. He was like one of the first people doing TED Talks. You remember when those first started getting trendy and all that? He had some very interesting concepts. He's the brains behind Little Sophia right there, right?
He.
Do you know what the money was that financed that? Money came from a certain Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh.
Yeah, and so Ben Gortzel, however you say his name.
So pedophile's first initial response was pretty spot on, hey?
That's not the best part, folks. So, him and Jeffrey, they took a little trip to Africa to study the brain patterns of all these orphans and had this super cool little program going on to monitor and catalog the human brain so that they could develop the personality for Little Sophia based off of all these children. And, you know, I spent a significant amount of time and I couldn't track down a single one of these children that were enrolled in the program.
So maybe they made their way to that island.
Well, you know.
Man, that is disturbing on a real level.
Kid Fucker Island?
Yeah, that one. Where
you talking about Vatican City? I think I'll leave that in. That's fun.
Oh boy. Glad I got these glasses on today.
Let's read a quick little snippet. This is from the old Wikipedia, you know. Ben, I'm going to go with Gortzel. I'm sorry to any Yiddish people out there.
To me.
Computer scientist, artificial intelligence researcher, and businessman. He helped popularize the term artificial general intelligence. You may have heard of AGI and some of the little doomsday things, right? Three of Gertzel's Jewish great-grandparents immigrated to New York from Lithuania and Poland. It's funny how they worked that in there right in the second line. That's the most important thing to know about him. Let's go to the full page. You can read about Sophia and all that. Fun little things to talk about there, right? Cute little doll.
Terrifying little doll.
And that's not all.
They don't make it in China, do they?
Are you familiar with what the name Sophia means?
Negative.
So, Sophia is wisdom. This is going into the whole Gnostic belief system.
Okay.
If you want to really pull on that thread there, that would be the kind woman who gave birth to the demiurge. If you want to go into that, the whole Stranger Things. It's also, I think you might be making a video. You were talking about the actual real life thing that was based off of. And
that
everything.
project thing?
Yeah.
With the kids?
I won't make any. We won't have any spoilers. I'll let you do what you want with that. Shameless plug. So Sophia is actually an anagram, or rather Baphomet. You're familiar with this thing?
Oh,
yeah. It's not just a sexy half goat man lady
bring me
thing.
the children.
But there's a couple different theories they put out there. One of them's so the guy who originally came out with the, what's his name? I'm sorry, I should know this. Eliphas Levi. Says that he's got the symbolization, the equilibrium of opposites, and they got this not esoteric meaning, but making it where it's very artistic. You scroll on further, they're saying how it's a combination of like the Frankish Jew and like just all kinds of stuff, right? Pull on that thread as much as you think.
Oh, that's a
as
big
much as
thread
you
to
want,
pull
yeah.
on, boy.
Or think it's all hogwash and people just making leaps, even or people just making stuff up at the time, right? But anyway, so Baphomet, it's an anagram, there's a little cipher, and that is just the translation of the Sophia, which is
Sophia is a figure along with knowledge among many of the early Christian knowledge theologies grouped by the oh my goodness, that's a big word. And another term that means knowing in the 17th century term expanding on the definition of Irenaeus groups to include the
syncretic faith. That's like when you talk about the mystery cults, all these Romans and Greeks going to like Oracle Delphi, there's mystery cults. You've probably heard references to that. That's going in there. So that's because people forget what the early Christian church really was. I mean, what you have today is nothing like what it was before. It was wild. I don't know if I've gone into this tirade before, so I'm sorry if I'm beating a dead horse. But I think that the whole Protestant movement as a whole really missed out because they were trying to make such a clearly defined separation between the traditional Catholic Church that they were parting with. And this is all the sects. I'm speaking very, very generally, of course. But I think that they really messed up because they removed a lot of the really kind of like badass stuff, like the Acts of the Saints and all this stuff. And you had, I just think that's a really cool thing. I think that they missed out. And the early church was very much believed in a lot of what is kind of, like now very much brushed off. But I mean, they made holidays specifically for it.
Well, wasn't it true that the church basically Christianized a bunch of different pagan holidays and beliefs and kind of brought it under one tent kind of deal in the early stages?
As someone who literally has spent years for really deep diving into this,
right?
A lot of stuff to come out for that. A lot of cool places never before seen on camera by anyone other than you when you watch it. Looked into it fairly extensively. It appears to me, and this is over a period of about 450 years. I mean, there's stuff that happens, significant stuff that happens that the whole history of Christianity. I'm not trying to negate any of the various movements or anything, but I'm saying what you're specifically referring to about the Christianization of all these various tribal religions that all seem to have a kind of Celtic origin, which has its origin in Germanic, which has its origin. Eve might have heard of the Sumerians and all that.
A lot of old stuff in Turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's saying they're the same people there, and they actually tie that all the way back to the sun worshipers. Those would be the alleged original people that were involved with the pyramids somehow, and the ancient class that kept their knowledge very secret came to be the priesthood that eventually transitions to the priest kings, the pharaohs, all that stuff. That's one interpretation. I'm just saying that's how those people are generally looked at, as tracing all the way back through. If you want to go as far back as you can for the particular religious cult, we'll call it,
right,
as most things are. And you got to remember, Christianity is absolutely classified as a religious cult at this time too, and that's not a derogatory term. It's just what the literal classification would be, right? So the way it transitioned is they did incorporate these traditional, like you said, holidays and localized gods and stuff. Right. But over time, those got replaced with various Christian saints that would have their birthdays, significant event, whatever, correlating with this particular holiday, which then becomes...
Well, wasn't Christmas, wasn't that originally like Saturnalia, the pagan celebration where...
Right.
I mean, you can pull on that thread all you want.
Which Saturnalia was also an interpretation of... I mean, it just goes back there.
Right.
Because originally that was more... So Saturnalia is associated more with the Romanesque type times, and that came out of a fertility ritual that was
pulling that all you want to.
That was devoted to the god Dionysus.
Make the babies, kill the babies.
Which, when I was in grade school, we actually had a like Greek day, we'll say, and everybody had to dress up as a particular Greek god and give a presentation. Like for art class, we spent, I think, a week or two prior making this huge big banner, larger than you.
That's all the Olympics.
But each kid had to do their own banner, dress themselves up, do their own presentation, and they're graded on that, right? And I had the best,
Of course, of course.
But it's me dressed up for as the god Dionysus. So that was my first little peek into that. And
which interpretation did you go? Did you go with like the big old fat belly and the grapes, or how'd you roll with it?
Looking back, I probably should have been more like dad bod in my overall goal. At the time, I was not. You got to think, this is me, all county in every sport, doing all the things.
Ripped.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. Just so little body fat, I'm shivering. It's a comfortable room temperature and all that. Ridiculous. That metabolism, teenage life,
Eat a lot. It was fun.
Yeah. No consequences.
Just nom.
Different times.
So Donna, how'd you roll with it?
Oh yeah, so I went more regal with it. Had of course the purple, but I made like a little crown of grapevine kind of thing going across there. I gotta rock these. I just took these off to read, and how unpatriotic of me.
Mark.
Sorry. Anyway. I was a kid, it was me in the paper. I'd been in the paper a few times before for like athletic stuff or winning some scholastic event or whatever, but this was like
best picture ever.
Right. That actually inspired me to do the drama club thing they had there, and we had a play that was a weird take on the Wizard of Oz. Not like not as agenda pushing, we'll say, as all the new stuff that's come out the past few years.
Poor Ariana, man.
But I will say, it was definitely not the original tale. It was more of the Wicked Witch's perspective, and my role was Tibia. I was her like manservant, but I was a skeleton, so I was in a skeleton suit the whole time.
Okay.
So as we get it, because it was a live performance. So as we get up there, I just went to like C-3PO voice, and that's how, so I was this like over the top, proper British skeleton, and it worked. It worked, and she was a very intelligent young girl. She was also in the GATE program with me, and she was involved in that. And so, like I said, she rolled with it very good with improv, and she was this tiny little girl, like a mouse of a girl, very shy. But as soon as we were in, theater mode, she had the biggest personality. I mean, and she had the like, I can't even do the Wicked Witch. Like she had a better Wicked Witch voice than the Wicked Witch. Like, and
Good for her.
Yeah, she killed. And I actually think she came out of her shell a lot more after that performance.
Probably helped her, yeah.
Probably other people treated her differently after seeing that she was, capable of.
Let her grow into herself, kind of deal.
Yeah, that was a moment that I appreciated for her. I hope I have no contact with her. I don't even.
She might be on Broadway now. Who knows?
She was smart. She's probably doing something for the defense sector, finance sector.
Those smarties do end up in those places, don't they?
Well, out of that, so like I said, all the people that I was with in that GATE program, they all have gone to do, or most of them have. So a significant portion actually are no longer here for various reasons or whatever.
A lot of that in that sector too.
Yeah. That's a whole different rabbit hole to go in.
Yink.
If you want to.
Boy, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I'd like to reach out to some people that were involved and see what they remember and all that. There's like weird stuff, and it kind of is concerning now looking back that some of the stuff that transpired or all that you know, that it was. But I do remember they ended the gate program because the public reasoning was it was like an equity issue that they were saying that it was unfair for so much funding to go to this very small portion of kids while the rest of the like population as a whole got significantly less than we got just for that small thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we did get to do some very cool stuff. Like I said, we'll go into that in a later episode. But so that was my first exposure, and I've always had a very inquisitive mind and get very detailed into things. So
you got pretty granular on that one, I bet.
Right, yeah. So I had fun with that, and that's my first exposure really to looking into these Greek myths at the time, not even really giving any historical validity to anything, just loosely associating it all as myth.
Soaking up all the stories there.
Yeah, but taking it all in and enjoying it for what it was and all that. Compare, contrast, you know. But that, of course, led to a lot of the Gnosticism stuff and early religious stuff, and that's
so on and so forth.
Been a passion ever since then, trying to just learn as much as I can.
Well, yeah, you were saying that the church started putting like dates with saints and all that.
Right.
Yeah, and I believe in my own little pulling on threads that one of the things they changed was Jesus's birthday to coincide with Saturnalia, because the way I understand it, Jesus was actually born in the summer, very near the summer solstice, and that's not in December. So, you know, you're talking about changing dates and things to make them correlate with stuff. So
right. Yeah, and then of course all this. Sorry, we're kind of
all over the place.
Yeah, we went deep into the Gnosticism because of Sophia, Sophia the AI robot, been just which is very Jewish name at the end. Yeah. The Epstein connection and all that, right? So that's one of these very purported as being a brilliant guy with. You instantly said pedophile, you know.
I mean, and you said he's besties with Epstein, got all the money for the stuff.
No, I'm not making any accusations in terms of that.
Pure opinion.
Highly suspicious.
I'm just saying that that's where all the money's coming from.
But that's in these, I don't want to say fringe tech worlds or fringe science world, but these higher level people. I mean, go to like Einstein, you know, most famous cousin fucker right there, you know. Married his first cousin, but that's something that is there. I mean, I think on his Wikipedia page, it'll pull up right there like that.
Cousin fucker comes to America. Dang.
So yeah, it's pretty public, but even in the things that say good things about him, they acknowledge it. Like, yeah, he married his first cousin, you know, and all that. Not just him. We had Schrodinger. You remember Schrodinger, right?
Oh, he's got the Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, everybody's familiar with the cat. A lot of people don't understand the experiment or what it's supposed to be saying, but everybody does at least associate cat. Oh yeah, that's one of them thinker guys. He said some smarty things and helped us advance and all that stuff. Right. So
it's even an episode in Big Bang Theory. It's like half the episode they reference Schrodinger's cat, Penny and Leonard's relationship, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I didn't mean
to. Right. Yeah. You ever read any of his journals?
I didn't even know that those were available for viewing.
So he had he did a lot of experiments, you know, social experiments, cataloged everything.
Killed a lot of cats.
That's not what it is at all. I guess we'll have another episode where we do a deep dive into Schrodinger. Right? So Schrodinger courted a lot of young ladies. His favorite age was 12 to 15 because he thought after the age of 15, a girl had nothing more that she could learn and they became dull at that point in time. And so this is, once again, one of these famous guys that we church up that is blatant pedophile, knows his name, all documented out there. It's not something that's huge and secreted away. Only a few people know. I mean, a few people only know because they choose to know, but it's all out there for anybody to.
What was the time frame of him?
Well, here, we'll pull him up so you can get some accurate.
Like, when was he? What is it? Early 1900s, right? 1920s, 30s?
Yeah, he was born in 1887. He died. Yeah, born 1887, died January 1961. So he barely made it into 61. Yeah. Schrodinger's biographer, Walter Moore, this is according to him, Schrodinger kept a list in his diary of the women and girls he'd romanced. A 12-year-old named Barbara, keep that, I won't say her name, was on it. That right there, biographer talking about the 12-year-old all the way. Her astonished family asked a Catholic priest to intervene. The biography explained the priest had a serious word with Schrodinger and muttering dark imprecations. Schrodinger desisted from further attentions to Barbara, although he listed her among the unrequited loves of his life. Jeez, a 12-year-old girl, unrequited love of his life. Among the unrequited loves. Among the unrequited loves.
And this is a highly touted, big name wig scientist throughout history.
Yeah, let's look
Straight
at
kid diddler.
There's an image right there.
What a creeper.
But once again, if I were just to show you this guy.
Yeah, he looks like Chester the freaking molester, dude. It's like they got
They have
type
a look
about him, don't they?
They have a look. They do tend to have a look.
So how in the hell does this all... We started way over here. We got to Epstein. We got to the Sophia. Why are we talking about Schrodinger? Where's the...
Well, I was just making the pattern of all of these
Is it that they're all pedos?
Perhaps. I mean, they're just...
So, this is kind of... I'm obviously learning on the fly here. Because I've obviously heard of Schrodinger, but I never heard that Schrodinger was a kid diddler. So, and I asked the time frame because, like I said, he was prominent in the early 1900s. So, if he's been rubbing shoulders with all the big whatevers for all this time, maybe he got the money then. It's the same money that's gone forever and ever, and these freaks have been hiding in the shadows for a long fucking time.
Well, see, here's the thing. You know about Hugh Hefner's pig parties?
God, yes, that's a thread I pulled on. That was unfortunate.
Thursday night pig parties, right? Do you know about, have you heard about the Blood Woman?
Negative.
I can't remember her name. That might be it. So why don't you say what you know about the pig parties, since everyday viewer might not be privy to that.
Was that the cosplay kind of deal where all the big girls and...
No. So the pig parties, like I said, Thursday night pig parties, that's when the Playboy House would be shut down. There's not the normal parties that there were every other night. There was some sort of function, right?
Right.
Thursday night is where the bigwig to the private underground party that is below the mansion, because there's multiple levels below the mansion.
As you would have.
And they engage in acts that they might not want to be seen by other people who are not at their level, we'll say.
Right.
So there's this lady there, we'll say an attractive woman, dressed up like a nurse, and what she'll do is she'll actually draw their blood while they're engaged in sexual acts.
Oh.
And the premise being that it enhances the orgasm. That's what they're saying does there. Yeah, Lady Blood, Madam Blood, something like that. I can't remember.
Something along those lines.
You gotta think, you have these very, very high, very, very high level power players, whether they be politicians, businessmen,
music moguls, whatever.
The peak, we'll say, of what influences and affects everything in your day to day.
All the people you don't even really know their name.
If they're drawing the blood of this, what do you think's happening with that blood?
Oh, they're doing something with it.
Well, that's the thing here, and that's where you can get into all kinds of conspiracy things. I mean, you take a vial of somebody's blood, they don't do what you want. That's something that you can put at a crime scene. You've linked them there. Maybe if you're into the whole cloning thing, maybe they're making a clone
another one
there. Like there's, or the bioweapons. We can specifically engineer something lethal to one
virus
particular
just for
person.
you.
Yeah, they put that in some movie or a couple movies. I'm sure lately
they poisoned my water.
It's
something about
But yeah, just something to think about why they're doing that there. But that's going to your point of, is this a thing that's always been?
Right.
You got to think, that goes back decades. This Epstein thing, that goes back a few more recent decades.
Right.
So who's to say going further there? I mean, look at Pinocchio, all the things in there. They talk about taking these boys to Pleasure Islands.
100%. That's one of my favorite comics did a whole freaking bit on that.
Who's that?
Oh, come on. Goatman?
Oh, Jim Brewer?
Yeah, 100, dude.
Jim Brewer? I don't know if I've seen that. I'll have to look that up.
Oh, yeah, he does a whole... I mean, he's been on several different deals, just outspoken, because he is all about Disney as the enemy for, you know, all the kind of reasons. But he's like, they've been putting this crap in your kids' movies for, like, ever, dude. And you got the scene where, you know, the one guy's talking about taking the little boys to the island, you know, and it's just super, super creepy.
Right. So that's something that potentially has gone on for a very long time. For, I don't know, for, I would say at least going back to the days of the OSS, probably well before that. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff you can go through there, particularly in Eastern Europe. There's some very historical. Save that for another episode. We'll say possibly another tie-in, same time as Epstein, just to show that this isn't one operation at a time. This might not be one operation from one government at a time. There might be multiple governments with multiple operations at any given. You know,
there could be dozens of those islands that nobody's even heard of that operations are still taking place on.
Right. Or there could be your whole shadow government that your global entity would take your pick. There's all kinds of ways to look at it. I'm not endorsing any particular opinion one way or another, but it is all stuff to consider, we'll say. But I was trying to tie that in to the Diddy stuff.
Oh yeah.
You don't think that could possibly be a thing there? Because there's a clip where he's talking with Ellen and he covers the mic, but you still hear it.
Yes. Oh, I've seen that. That went viral for a while.
He's like, "You're gonna wear this shirt," and she's like, "Oh no, I don't think I'd look good in the shirt." You know, whatever. She doesn't want to wear the T-shirt, and he wants her to wear the T-shirt. And then he, you know, covers the mic or whatever.
You know, I still got the tapes, right?
Yeah, I'll release them tapes, you know. And I forgot the other actor who was there, singer or whatever, but the guy's
stoked. Oh,
he just hears it all, and you see him just completely lock up.
Didn't know what to do. Oh, yeah.
There's been so many little Diddy videos where you see different celebrities on. But I'm saying that could easily be part of this, whether it's a honeypot operation or however dark you want to go with it. That's...
See, I saw a clip of... I won't name drop because we ain't friends and whatever, but there's this fella that was like, say you were a bigwig, you know, or you were coming up, or, you know, you were an artist coming up, or, you know, a producer, you know, whatever. Your product getting popular, and you're approached, and you walk into a room to have your, you know, what you think is your one-time meeting. You know, you're about to sign your big deal. You're about to, you know, this is the big time, and you walk in and you're about to talk to this guy, and instead of, you know, you sit down, and before you ever even get to say a word, a naked kid walks in. Somebody walks in and takes a couple pictures of you, runs back out the door. You're fucked. He can do whatever he wants to with that picture, and you can get up and run out of the room, scream to the heavens, whatever you want to do, but he's got a picture of you with a naked kid.
Well, I mean, one thing to consider now that they're releasing some of the infancy stages of the AI technical capabilities that we have, nobody's going to believe any videos of people with any stuff very soon.
The real stuff, right?
It's going to be so hard to differentiate. And even if you have it archived, even if you go to the backlogs, which I've done that for decades.
In a place that can't be tampered with.
Right.
Right.
People are still going to negate that, even if you're like, see, this is the evidence, this is from this file was created this day.
Right.
No, you can, because they're right. At the end of the day,
timestamp.
You can easily, people are going to have so much distrust of reality and so much disconnect. It's just, like you said, you're going to have that division. You're going to have people that embrace that, and probably a lot of that's going to get thinned out. And you're going to have people that withdraw from that and live a certain way. And I think that will not be sustainable for multiple generations. And I think at the end of the day, well, we won't postulate on that. That'll be a whole different rabbit to go down.
Well, I just don't think it's sustainable. I mean, look at the birth rates in our country. I saw
people
a
are starting to, if people truly do actually start consuming food rather than, you know, Subway sandwich bread, same material as airplane seat cushions. You know, you can put all of the pasta that you get, all of the rice that you get that's nice and smooth, that's all coated in silicone. It increases the weight of the product, decreases the amount of actual food they have to give you. It makes it last so much longer.
Right.
And also, it looks so nice and pretty and clean and shiny.
Yeah.
So if you're out there shopping, make sure you're getting the rough-looking stuff. It's better for you.
Weird.
But more and more people appear to be getting health conscious. I just hope that people do, we'll say people go beyond surface level investigation so they don't get fooled.
It says it's fine on this label.
Right, they don't get
But
fooled
what
by the
company
corporations.
sold it and printed that label? Right. When you can go, I very much support the community mindset. Everybody kind of has, chickens or goats or cows or chickens or whatever.
We got the animals here. We raise it. We grow food here.
Right. I source my meat as well. I will get a side of beef, and that'll last me a year or whatever. I'll get a little piggy, give me some sausage, but I know who grew it. I know the food it ate while it was there. I know it has been jabbed 1,000 times.
Right.
There's a lot of ways to go with that. I think RFK's done a good job of highlighting that for all the mainstreamers, because I've been preaching on synthetic dyes for years and years and years that you're not supposed to ingest petroleum. Petroleum is not supposed to go on the inside.
Yellow number 5, Mountain Dew's,
red number 4,
Touch.
all the.
Do you know? So Mountain Dew, the coal. Yellow 5 is an industrial byproduct of the coal. That's the Mountain Dew. It's this industrial waste product. That's that dew. Oh my gosh.
No. I saw a thing where they said that the Mountain Man, they had the Mountain Dew. That's from the Moonshiners.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of those conspiracies with Mountain Dew releasing all the flavors before the events happen.
All the bad stuff,
yeah, the
Code
Maui
Red,
stuff,
all that.
Baja Blast, all the,
yeah,
crazy.
It's like The Simpsons.
Yeah. And once again, take with it all coincidence, people pulling the string, simulation. So there's just patterns that go up there, all that.
The oil, you control the world. Why was the Roman Empire so powerful? Olive oil. How did John D. Rockefeller become the richest man in the world? Crude oil. How did y'all boy Puff throw the greatest parties of all time? Baby oil.
I think you've been keeping up with it probably a little bit more than me when it comes to the, we'll say the
circus show.
Yeah, we'll say the juicy gossip.
Gonna be a documentary.
I'm sure it'll be multiples.
Might be a Netflix series.
So give me something juicy.
It's weird because the charges that are brought against him aren't really the charges you would think would be like they went after him for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've touched on that.
Yeah,
I think it's a way just to disclose stuff without there being repercussions, but
without actually named and this or that, blah 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 blah. You keep seeing like the video of Cassie getting dragged down the hall that's like 10 years old, and you haven't gotten any snippets of anything real.
Well, I've been seeing a lot more stuff on social media being put out, like little videos from the Diddy parties,
Oh yeah.
Kevin Hart and
all greasy and stuff.
Yeah, that's that baby oil, right?
Man, I wonder if it had the stuff in there.
Pick a celebrity on there. Horrific stories, like all the Bieber stuff.
Oh yeah, God bless. That's just horrible. I looked into that because I used to like his music. Okay, I was a baby.
You had Bieber fever?
Oh, it was.
Did you have the haircut?
Oh no.
Okay,
I've had that same haircut since. No, I pulled on that Justin Bieber thread, man, and what really triggered it for me was that video of him with that football player OBJ. There was a video of him, like literally blowing OBJ in the middle of a club while somebody was looking out, and he pops up and he's like, "Oh yeah, woo!" And I was like, "that can't be real. That's not real." And then I started to see it started to trend, and I was like, "Okay, let me look," because everybody's already pulled on the Pizzagate stuff. His name came up a lot during that, and it's just disgusting. Between the child molestation, the gang rapes, you're
talking about Diddy's sons and Diddy on him. And then I saw a video with with Jaden Smith, you know, Will Smith's son, and he comes up and he's just dry humping Bieber while Bieber's in the middle of a talk with some other people, and then makes him kiss him
on the mouth. Right.
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. And then there was a video with Diddy where he had Bieber when he was really, really little, and he was like,
or the Lamborghini video when he was like, when you come here, you driving this, kid.
Well, he said, I'm not his legal guardian, don't got custodianship, but he's mine for the next 72 hours, 42
all
hours.
All alone
whatever.
at Diddy's house, nobody with him. Right. Promise him this Lamborghini every time you come to see me.
I just don't understand. From like a parent perspective on that, I don't understand how you would do
never
that.
happen.
Yeah.
Never. I don't care if you're 18, I'm not letting you hang out at Diddy's house for a day. No, a 13-year-old boy. You got it.
Any minor. Yeah, that's...
Come on, man. And even if you had an inkling that there was something up, you don't leave your kid there. But if you even thought for a second there was something on, you don't leave him there for any extended period of time. We're going to meet at Starbucks, bro. We're not coming to your house. No. Because I get that, people in power, you still got to go through certain channels to get your song on the radio or whatever. But, Cat Williams talks about that virgin booty hole,
Funny guy.
I mean, he had that great skit about the Billy G potatoes, because you touched on the plant spray earlier, that it's allowed everywhere, don't, blah, blah, blah. But Cat Williams has I bet it's a 5-minute skit on the potatoes that that Bill Gates basically has the patent on for all the fast food restaurants and all that stuff. And just the process these farmers have to do to grow the potato, to make sure they don't have any striations on the skin, the shit they got to spray on the farm, how long they can't go to the farm after they spray the shit because it kills everything, and then after they pick these potatoes, they got to put them in a vault for like a month just to aerate all the shit that's soaked into them before they can even wash them the first time because of the forever chemicals that they did, blah, blah, blah. It's just hilarious skit. Cat Williams did great. But yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to what we were saying way earlier, the underwear.
Right.
That's one of those fields.
100%. Yeah.
Everything dead. They have to let those potatoes air out for like 2 weeks or something like that, right? That's crazy.
And literally in a vault, so it doesn't aerate the stuff around it and, kill birds and skunks and the poor little deer and, the people that might live next door. It's just the stuff that they've been allowed to do and the stuff that they're literally allowed to do on paper. Like, yeah, we signed, it's in the contract right here. It's fine. The FDA cleared it. You're cool.
The big, beautiful, bodacious, bountiful.
Everything's fine. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic pill.
Do you got anything for that before we wrap up?
I think they teased, hey, there's going to be no tax on tips or overtime, but, we're going to cut the taxes for the rich and the corporations, and the middle class is really going to get butt fucked with this bill. But hey, we're not going to tax your tips anymore, so get you a server job. Or work 90 hours a week so you can actually make half a paycheck. It's just, if people would look at the 900 pages of crap, that's typical. Oh, jeez. You remember the whole freaking, what was it, Save America plan bill bullshit?
You remember every bill that's ever been promoted through the
look
media.
At one
if
of them,
you see it on the news.
Oh, God. Just read it. It would, and people are like, yeah, it's fine. No, exactly. Staffers did.
Like I said, the majority of those decisions, all that, are not the people people.
It's not the pretty face you see on the Congress hearing, slamming the keywords.
Some of them do some work. I'm not saying they're all terrible people.
On their knees, maybe. Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. That one got me a bit. That was quite funny.
But yeah, it's a lot of fuckery afoot, as it were.
Right. I mean, the most terrifying thing to me is still the AI, no restrictions. But I understand from pure war game, prisoner's dilemma type thing. It's that is what it is. That is the reality that we have to accept. Or do we? No, no, it is. That's terrifying. There also, I mean, there's so much other pork to cut out of there, but it's not going to. There was one small victory, and it there was one small victory that was last minute. We'll say, like literally the early hours got taken out of there, and it was a land provision. So the federal government is selling public land
everywhere,
left and right.
Right.
So, and that was one of the many things worked into this beautiful bill. You know, also we're selling all this land.
Sweeping changes,
but there was enough lobbying against it. Probably familiar with the Sean Ryan show podcast.
Oh, sure.
I don't know if it's the top. It's in the top 3, definitely.
If you haven't heard of him, you don't have a phone or a computer. So
right. He's heavily promoted.
Yeah, right.
Right. But he kind of got involved with that too. Tried to put more, we'll say, celebrity face behind it. I assume that I assume it's aired by now, but he was interviewing blanking on his name, but another man who was very instrumental and really goes in depth, and he's trying to preserve land so it's not developed for a big nuclear AI plant or, you know, whatever.
Right. Eminent domain.
It goes back to railroad times there, son, and even further.
Hey, we got get our shit from here to there, and if your little podunk bullshit's in the middle, sorry.
Movie American Outlaws. A lot of cheese with Colin Farrell, but I thoroughly enjoyed their portrayal of all of that. That was very, very good to my heart.
Yeah, you get a little every once in a while, you know?
Yeah. Very much I would not say very close to historically accurate, but definitely a great story, overall.
Man, we're getting everywhere now, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's one part of it, and it's him and his brother, and then his cousins, I believe the youngers, you know, and there's like 3 of them. So they're all brothers and cousins and all that stuff. And the James Younger gang, right? So he's talking about his life and how much he enjoys it after the war, you know, because they're all just coming back from the Civil War, and he's wanting to, you know, planting corn, harvesting corn, and eating corn. You know, that's such a great, you know,
goals, baby.
And then that it was not what turned out.
Man,
he's
like that, don't it?
Well done, though. Yeah.
More of a Tombstone guy.
Tombstone's another classic.
Oh,
you can't hate on Tombstone. We'll probably do these on the DudeBros Rewind.
Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely do that on the DudeBros Rewind.
Cheese ball.
But like I said, we've been kind of all over the place, but I feel like it's all kind of in a circular theme because all the food that everybody, you know, we're basically the most poisoned country on the planet. It's like illegal to do it in most countries, like the UK and all that.
We are the world's wet market.
Right. Oh gosh, truly, man.
No, we're the world's industrial dump. Like we've always been shown videos of Indonesia and China, all the plastic waste clogging up the road, which does occur and is horrible. I'm not negating that at all, but this is truly the place where all of that just gets recycled. We don't dump it into our waterways. We don't pollute the environment that way. We're going to pollute it through you. You get to excrete it into the environment, and the levels in the environment are that high from your own human waste. Birth control in the water. Birth control in the water.
Oh my god.
They're turning those frogs.
Yeah.
Alex Jones.
Tetrazine, right? Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually looked into that, and this shit's legit, man. I mean, you can pull on that all you want to, but
Simpsons episodes, once again, frogs coming out of the water.
Weird coinkadink.
Unfortunately, sir, I would have to have that conversation in a closed session.
I know you said that, and a lot of people are frustrated with those kind of answers, but we're asking those kind of questions so you all know what the heck we're up against.
None of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about. Yeah. Jay reach out yet? Nah, Bob. He ghosting. What this motherfucker doing? These things sweet.
You heard him?
About to get out on bail. Nah, hey yo, check this out. Need you to reach out to the producer. Let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie. Alright, Pop. It's just fucking crazy right now.